Through creating my music magazine, I've had to use a lot of digital technologies and web apps, some of which I haven't used before. Firstly, I use Bubblers, a web application which I use to brainstorm ideas for my magazine. I found it straightforward and easy to use, and a good way to organise ideas. Then I use Photoshop and InDesign to actually create my magazine. I found that both these programs very flexible, and you can create almost anything you want, and you can end up with a very professional looking magazine. The disadvantage is that Photoshop and InDesign are quite difficult to learn at first because there's a lot of functions and they're quite complex. And sometimes it can be impractical using two different programs, because to create my magazine I had to use Photoshop for graphical things like images and banners, and InDesign for text. I also use WordPress, another web application, and a blog service, which I use to post updates on my project. I found it very easy to use, very easy to add photos and text, thanks to its clear and simple layout. But I found that linking documents is a more difficult process than in other blogs like Posterous, because you can't embed documents as you can in some blogs, you can only link them. To take the photos for my magazine, I used a DSLR camera. The advantage is that you can self-focus, so there's more control than a point-and-shoot camera, which results in more professional photos. And also it takes photos in extremely good quality, much better than an average point-and-shoot camera. The disadvantage is that they're much more complex to use because they have a lot more functions. I also use Prezi, another web application, and a form of presentation software which I use to create my media pitch. The advantage is that it's very easy to use, and it's a lot more flexible than PowerPoint, and you can end up with a much more professional looking presentation thanks to better transitions than PowerPoint. The disadvantage is that you can't embed Prezi presentations directly to WordPress, you have to link them. Finally, I also use Movie Maker, a video editing software. Again, I found this very easy to use. You can add transitions, text, images and video quite easily. Windows Movie Maker allowed me to anchor audio over visuals creatively. So through creating this project, I've used some new hardware like DSLR cameras, I've used some Web 2.0 applications such as Bubblers and Prezi, and I've also used desktop publishing software like InDesign and image manipulation software like Photoshop.